Hi, I'm Kerry, the host of Best of Us Investors. I've learned in my life that whenever there is an event, whether it's relative to the world or just me and my life, there are usually some unattended consequences and then there are some unforeseen benefits. Usually the consequences are negative and the benefits, of course, are positive. And I think that is the case with the coronavirus. And I think it's very easy to see what the negative part of this coronavirus is, but it's a little bit difficult to see what the positives that are going to come out of this. And through my readings, I have discovered one that is going to cause a revolution in the healthcare field. And I want to explain it to you so that you can put yourself in a position to take advantage of it. I did a video on Wednesday that covered this at some level, but what I want to do in this video is dig in deep so that you can see exactly what these unintended or unforeseen benefits will be and why they happened and how they're going to present you some investment opportunities in the future that are actually better than anything that you've seen in the past. Okay, so I'm going to get down and dirty on this and share with you what I've learned. And then I'm going to ask you for your help because this is bigger than one guy can do. We need help. We need to work together to identify the companies that are going to benefit from this and that are going to bring you and I and the world the benefits, and thus we can profit from it. It's all going to be around the Best of Us Investors. And I'm inviting you now, and I'll invite you later to come to bestofusinvestors.com. Give me your email address and your name, and I'll send you an invitation to our Discord where we'll dig into this even deeper. But let me give you my take on what happened over the last 15, 16 months and what the unforeseen benefits are going to be. I'll be right back.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
First of all, you need to have some basic understanding of the medical industry and the science behind it. It's a very competitive industry because there are huge profits as well as huge expenses to get to those profits. So you have a infrastructure of laboratories and pharmaceutical companies, and in between them are companies that are taking the information from the laboratories and monetizing it so that that company then becomes a target buyout of a large pharmaceutical company. Well, you might imagine, just like in any other industry, this becomes very competitive. You have multiple laboratories working on similar projects that he who gets there first wins. And there first is usually a patent and a clinical trial that proves that your patent is worthy, and then the money follows. So it's a very competitive industry, and it thus moves slow. But something happened back in March of 2020, and that was the alarm went up and said, we're in some deep shit. We've got a virus that's coming across the world, and we need to stop it. Well, when that happened, a lot of the selfishness, the competitiveness, the uncooperative nature of the laboratories in particular dropped down. They basically came together and said, how can we stop this virus? And what do we need to do collectively to do it? And through Zoom, these laboratories and these scientists came together and worked collectively to find first of all, a test to determine whether or not you have the coronavirus. And we all know what that is, even though many of us didn't take it. It was sticking that thing up our nose, then putting it into some reading mechanism to determine whether you had the virus. Well, what that reading mechanism was a adaptation of CRISPR. CRISPR is a natural process in your body, which basically comes and attacks anything that goes wrong. The simplest way to understand it is when you cut your hand, you put a Band-Aid on it, and eventually your body heals it up and it stops bleeding and you're okay. So that's what CRISPR does. What then the medical community had to do was say, okay, how can we use CRISPR to find a way to stop this virus? Well, what they did was they did genome sequencing. So they put this virus in a petri dish and they genome sequenced it to find out what the map of that virus was. Then they created a therapy, and that is they attached a protein to this CRISPR mechanism that would go and attack that virus and wipe it out. Now, the vaccine then became that CRISPR therapy injected into your body so that when the virus did show up, your body had the ability to attack it and kill it. Okay? This only happened because the science community came together and collectively worked together to solve the problem. In other words, if you think that maybe there were 52 laboratories around the nation, and they were sharing data on a daily basis. We tried this, we tried this, we tried this. This works. This had never happened before. And that is why we got that vaccine faster than we ever have seen it happen before. And that's part of the unintended consequence that a lot of people you see interviewed saying, I'm not going to get the virus. It just happened, or not going to get the vaccine. This vaccine just came too fast. This isn't real. This is bogus. Well, they don't recognize that the scientific community dropped down all their defenses, all their fears of, and worked together to make that happen. That, and what I just described to you, is what I'm going to call the revolution of our medical system, because we just learned that if they work together, they can change the way medicine is delivered. So here is what's happening. What they learned from this is the first step has to be testing, and that in fact we can test people. We can create a test that basically tells us anything and everything that's going on in the human body through the use of genome sequencing and CRISPR. So now think of it this way. If you, female, believe you're pregnant, you can go to the pharmacy and you can get a test kit. And I don't know exactly how you do it, but you determine that you are pregnant. Now consider that you could do that for any disease in the world, any disease, Alzheimer's, cancer, whatever. That's where we're at. And so we have now a 4-step process that is going to be available to the world as a result of what happened in the last 15 months. The first element of it will be in-home testing. You will have a test kit that you can go to the pharmacy and you can buy, and it will tell you whether you have cancer, whether you have heart disease, whether you have the early stages of Alzheimer's. It will tell you that. You will then notify your doctor. In fact, that test kit will be a prescription from your doctor, and the reading on that test kit will appear on your phone. and your phone will notify you and your doctor as to whether you have, let's use in our example, cancer. At that point, your doctor will order you genome sequencing. He'll also go into your medical records to find out if your family has a history of cancer. And so they will perform genome sequencing. And I've written under here the companies that are leading in that field. Once your genome is sequenced, you and your doctor will then order a genome therapy. Through editing, that genome therapy will go into your body and remove that mutation that is causing the cancer in your body. And I've listed the companies I own that I know that are going to be major players in that field. Once that is done, your medical data will be compared to the medical data of millions and billions of people around the world, and a database will be built as to what exactly is the indications up front to cue us in to the fact that a disease exists. So in other words, we are going to test you in home, which will notify your doctor. The doctor will then go find where the problem is through genome sequencing, will then order the therapy through genome editing, and the disease, the flu, the strep throat, whatever it is, will be taken out of your body. Now, I don't know this, but I would suspect that your insurance company is going to be happy to pay for that test, because consider the cost of that test and then the therapy to take the cancer out of your body as in relationship to the cost of finding the cancer as it is today, and then administering chemotherapy and all the crap that goes along with it until you die. So this is going to be something that is going to be backed by the insurance companies. This is the medicine of tomorrow. Now, why am I sharing you with this? I, through my readings and my study, have come up with the companies that I want to own, as I've listed here, in each of these categories. But what I know is there are more. And there are some that I have in my portfolio now that are big winners, and there are some that are losers. But that's where I need your help. I need the ability to have a laboratory of my own, a cadre of researchers. I would love to have 1 million people who takes the information that I share from my learnings and then digs deeper. And that's what I call my tribe. That's what we talk about when we talk about the power of a tribe. The power of bringing people together, much as what has happened here with the laboratories around the nation, the nation and the world coming together to find a vaccine in record time through cooperative effort. That's a tribe. And that's what I want to bring, that same concept to investing in stocks. Now, do some people have this concept? Yeah, there are, I guess you would call that the Goldman Sachs tribe and the JP Morgan tribe, who have quantum computers, who have Wharton School graduates who are analyzing stocks and coming up with the best picks for their best clients. We don't hear about it until they've already bought into it. I want to duplicate that. And that's what Best of Us Investors is about. And that's what our tribe is all about. So I gave you the breakdown of how I think the medical world is going to change. In-home testing, genome sequencing, genome editing, and medical data. And as I say, I have tried to identify the companies that are going to facilitate every one of these 4 elements of the medical revolution, but I know there's more. And I want you to help me to find them. And the way we're going to do that is through our tribe. And how do you say, Carrie, I already know who some of these in-home testing companies are. And I already know some of the genome editing companies that you didn't list are. Well, I want you to go to bestofusinvestors.com, give me your email address and your name, and I'll send you an invitation to our Discord. And there we will work together to find an investment opportunity. How does this work? If you've watched my channel recently, you know that one of our tribe brought forth a company that is suing Google for patent infringement. It's called Netlist. And that stock we discovered, actually Gabe discovered it at $2 a share. He shared it with me, and I shared it with the tribe, and the tribe and I agreed we were going to buy it. And we bought it at $3 a share. Well, that was around the 1st of July. It's now up to $9 a share, has been as high as $10 a share. Why did that happen? Because our tribe shared information, much as the medical science tribe shared their knowledge and shared their experience, and we got the coronavirus vaccine in record time. This is the future. This is the future of not only medicine, not only of stock buying. This is the future. And you need to recognize it as the future, that this little device here is going to be your key to any form of information. What I just described to you is similar to what if I had talked to you in 1977 about something called a digital revolution that is going to be led by a terminology that you've never heard of. It's called the internet. And what I want from you in 1977 is help me find Apple and Microsoft. That's where we are. But I want you to contemplate. We talk about the accessible market of a product. Well, what is the accessible market or the potential market for the removal of diseases and viruses from humankind? I don't know how many people there are in the world. I know it's in the multiple billions, but that's the market for the in-home test to find out if you have cancer, if you have heart disease, if you have early stages dementia. That's the market. My question to you is, if it was available to you, if your insurance company would pay for it, would you have it done? Would you go get the test, spit into a tube, break 2 capsules, and then take your phone, scan the readout, and find out if you've got, you fill in the gap? That's what's about to happen. This is the biggest change in the world in the history of mankind. And why did it happen? It is an unforeseen benefit of the coronavirus. I think there's going to be many. This is the first. Okay, that's what I do on my channel. I try to show you something beyond your nose. I try to read and study and come to a conclusion. I try to connect the dots. How many of you have said, oh, because of the virus, we learned how to test, We learned how to find a vaccine. We learned how to cure it. And we learned how to wipe it from the earth. What other applications might there be from that information? How many people do you know who think that way? My name is Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm the host of Best of Us Investors. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.